Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into the European Union's groundbreaking carbon laws. We'll explore the emissions trading system and the carbon border adjustment mechanism, powerful tools driving sustainability and compliance. Let's uncover how these carbon pricing mechanisms are paving the way for a more sustainable future. The European Green Deal, launched in 2019, is an ambitious initiative aimed at transforming the EU into a climate-friendly economy. Its goal is to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 55% by 2030 and achieve climate neutrality by 2050. The emissions trading system and the carbon border adjustment mechanism are crucial components in this journey. These tools not only curb industrial emissions, but also address carbon leakage, ensuring that climate action has a real and lasting impact across borders. The emissions trading system, launched in 2005, stands as the world's first major carbon market. It operates on a cap-and-trade basis, setting limits on emissions for industries like power generation and aviation, covering about 40% of EU greenhouse gas emissions. The system has recently expanded to include maritime emissions, highlighting its dynamic nature. By using auctions and free allocations, the ETS incentivizes industries to reduce emissions while fostering innovation in decarbonization. The ETS market allows companies to purchase carbon allowances directly through the EU market. While some allocations are still provided for free, particularly to help industries transition, this has been gradually reduced since 2013, with power plants no longer receiving them. Companies can trade allowances to efficiently manage their carbon footprint. This exchange fosters collaboration and innovation, ensuring emissions targets are met across the board. Now, let's explore the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM. This initiative tackles carbon leakage by imposing carbon costs on imports from sectors like cement, steel, and fertilizers. Starting with a transitional reporting phase from 2023 to 2025, companies will need to surrender CBAM certificates beginning in 2026, aligning with EU carbon prices by 2034. By ensuring that imported goods face the same carbon pricing as those within the EU, CBAM promotes fair competition and supports global decarbonization efforts. The emissions trading system, a cap-and-trade model, places a limit on total greenhouse gas emissions from sectors like power and aviation. This cap is gradually lowered, promoting continuous emission reductions. Companies buy or receive allowances, which they can trade based on their carbon footprint. The linear reduction factor further tightens the cap. This strategy aims for a 55% emission reduction by 2030. Importantly, the inclusion of maritime emissions from 2024 underscores the EU's commitment to comprehensive climate action. The Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism introduces carbon pricing on imported goods. This ensures that imports face the same carbon costs as those within the EU, preventing carbon leakage. Initially focusing on sectors like cement, aluminum, fertilizers, hydrogen, and energy-intensive industries, the CBAM ensures fair competition and environmental accountability. From 2023 to 2025, importers will need to report emissions, with no penalties for non-compliance yet. Starting in 2026, CBAM certificates will be required, aligning fully with EU carbon costs by 2034. This mechanism ensures that all goods imported or produced locally adhere to the same environmental standards. Let's compare the mechanics of the ETS and CBAM. The ETS operates on a cap-and-trade system, gradually reducing emissions and including sectors like power and aviation, with annual reductions accelerated to 4.3%. Auctions and free allocations are key compliance processes. On the other hand, CBAM targets imported goods with a carbon cost, focusing on industries like cement and steel. It begins with monitoring and reporting from 2023 to 2025, before requiring CBAM certificates from 2026. Both systems aim for full compliance by 2034, ensuring fair competition and robust emission reduction across the board. Key phases and timelines highlight milestones in the ETS evolution and CBAM implementation. The ETS began in 2005, with aviation added in 2012. A pivotal change was the increase in the linear reduction factor to 4.3% in 2021. With maritime emissions included in 2024 and aiming for a 55% reduction from 1990 levels by 2030, the ETS is on a robust path towards the net zero goal by 2050. For CBAM, the transition phase involves monitoring and reporting from 2023 to 2025. Full implementation begins in 2026, with complete carbon pricing parity set for 2034. These timelines are crucial for tracking progress and achieving climate targets. This graph illustrates the dynamic trend of carbon pricing within the EU market. You can see a significant rise in prices, especially noticeable in recent years, reflecting increased demand and tighter emission caps. Such price movements incentivize industries to innovate and invest in greener technologies. Understanding these trends is crucial for businesses navigating compliance and achieving sustainability goals. This heat map showcases carbon pricing across the globe in 2024. It highlights regions where emissions trading systems or carbon taxes are actively influencing carbon costs. Darker shades represent higher carbon prices, indicating stringent policies in those areas. This global perspective underscores the varied approaches countries are taking to address climate change, with each region adapting strategies to meet its environmental and economic needs. For corporate compliance under the emissions trading system, companies need to engage in annual emission reporting. This involves reporting emissions from sectors like power generation, manufacturing, and aviation, with reports validated by an accredited third party. Next, companies must surrender a sufficient number of ETS allowances to match these emissions. If emissions exceed allowances, additional permits must be purchased. Finally, there's an opportunity for trading. Companies reducing emissions below their cap can sell surplus allowances to others, benefiting from a market-driven incentive for emissions reduction. The auction market facilitates buying and selling allowances regularly, promoting flexible and cost-effective compliance strategies. For corporate compliance with the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, importers must register as authorized declarants with the EU authorities. This registration ensures they meet all compliance requirements related to carbon pricing on imports. During the transitional phase, importers are required to report the embedded emissions of goods and associated carbon costs from exporting countries. This includes detailed data on production emissions and carbon costs. Starting in 2026, importers will need to purchase CBAM certificates to cover these emissions, with costs based on the level of emissions reported and the applicable carbon price at the time of import. This process ensures fair carbon cost alignment between imported and EU-produced goods, promoting transparency and accountability. Compliance with EU carbon laws has significant environmental benefits. The ETS directly reduces carbon emissions by capping allowances, prompting industries to reduce their carbon footprint or purchase permits. As caps tighten over time, cleaner technologies become essential, leading to substantial emission reductions. CBAM ensures that imported goods meet the same carbon pricing standards as EU products, preventing carbon leakage and encouraging producers worldwide to adopt sustainable practices. This alignment helps push global markets toward greener technologies, amplifying the impact of the EU's ambitious emission targets and driving innovation across the board. Compliance with EU carbon laws can boost economic resilience by providing competitive advantages. Companies that comply early often benefit from reduced operational costs and enhanced brand positioning as sustainability leaders. This proactive approach helps in gaining market favor. Failure to comply, however, could result in higher compliance costs and penalties, putting businesses at a disadvantage. Embracing these practices early can secure long-term financial benefits. In terms of market access, green-compliant businesses find new opportunities. Both within the EU and globally, markets are increasingly favoring environmentally responsible practices, helping compliant companies expand their reach and influence. Innovation is at the heart of compliance with EU carbon laws. These laws provide a strong market signal for investing in green technologies. The ETS creates solid price signals for carbon emissions, making investments in low-carbon technologies such as renewable energy and electric vehicles more attractive. This shift encourages companies to innovate and adopt cleaner practices. The CBAM further motivates importing countries to adopt greener production methods to stay competitive. Companies are pushed to invest in research and development for sustainable solutions, including renewable energy systems and carbon capture technologies. This focus on innovation not only drives technological advancement, but also opens new markets in the green tech sector, expanding opportunities for global growth. This slide is a call to action for tackling climate change effectively. Start by conducting a thorough carbon footprint audit to assess and understand your emissions. Use these insights to adjust business strategies, focusing on emission reduction and incorporating low-carbon technologies for energy efficiency. Next, invest in clean energy sources like wind, solar, and hydro, and improve your manufacturing processes to reduce emissions. Finally, embrace innovation by developing new solutions that boost efficiency and reduce carbon footprints. Remember, as Robert Swan said, the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. It's up to all of us to make a difference. Thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, I'm here to help. For those ready to embark on your environmental, social, and governance journey, feel free to reach out to us at the email provided. We're excited to support you in creating a sustainable future. Let's work together to make a positive impact.